We had a little mishap with the room, but now we are meeting now, and the time is 7:16. We'll commence with the roll call.
How to run these things.
Okay, I'm gonna go commence with the roll call. Commissioner Pettigay Lewis. Commissioner Keisha Shropshire.
Present.
Commissioner Adams Roberts.
Present.
Commissioner Bernice Blacknell.
Present.
Commissioner Kathy Henderson. Commissioner Yvonne Buggs. And I'm Commissioner Clarence Lee. Let the record show that Commissioner Lewis was absent, Commissioner Henderson is absent, and Commissioner Buggs is absent. But we do have a quorum. We have 4 out of the 7 commissioners. First item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from September 10th, 2015 monthly minutes, and October 13th, 2015 monthly minutes. Who has the minutes to be approved? Is this my set? No, pass it there. You got a set? This is October 13th. Where's September coming? One page. Okay, September's coming. Does everybody have a copy of the minutes? I'm going to start by reading the September 8th minutes, 2015. Meeting was called to order at 7 p.m. Greetings by Commissioner Kathy Henderson. Roll call by Commissioner Buggs. All commissioners were present. A quorum was established. We had a public safety report from Lieutenant Carlos Mayer. Presentations by Mr. Alex Hastings, homeowner garage, edition of BZA 19061. Commissioner Buggs made a motion to support Mr. Hastings' project. Motion was seconded by Commissioner Shropshire. Motion passed 6-1. Mr. Golan, owner of 1609 Lever Street, Northeast, BZA 19051. Commissioner Lee made a motion to support Mr. Golan's project. Motion was seconded by Commissioner Lewis. Motion passed 7-0. Announcements were made by Tommy Jones of the Mayor's Office. Mr. Ronan Goldstone, Constituent Service Coordinator, McDuffie's office presented. Then went to administrative matters, approval of the minutes. Commissioner Buggs made a motion to approve the minutes for June, July, and August. Commissioner Roberts seconded the motion. Motion passed 6-1. Note, Commissioner Lewis and Commissioner Henderson requested that the minutes be read even though they were sent out electronically. Treasury report by Commissioner Keisha Shropshire. Reported that we now have the security fund in place. Reported that there were no transactions made and the balance in the ANC account remains at $53,877. Quarter 1. There was an allotment that was released in an amount of $3,335, but the typical allotment is $4,000. There were some deductions that were taken, which included check 153 in the amount of $300, check 154 in the amount of $442. These deductions were made because they were not allowable expenses. They were for plaques that were awarded last year in Q1. There was a check number 228 for $4 that contained only one signature. All of our checks should bear two signatures. A total of $746 was deducted because of these disallowable expenses. For quarter two, received our full allotment of the $4,000. Commissioner Shropshire moved to approve the treasury report. Commissioner Blackwell asked about an email received by commissioners and wanted to know if it had been resolved. Commissioner Shropshire read the email. Discussion was had regarding the email. Commissioner Shropshire made a motion to approve the treasury report. Commissioner Lee seconded the motion. It passed 5-1 and 1. Commissioner Henderson moved that the commission pay outstanding T-Mobile phone bill. Commissioner Lewis second. Commissioner Shropshire requested the phone bill, but was not afforded the bill. Motion failed 2-5. Deputy Mayor Courtney Stoughton made a presentation with Q&A session. Citizens announcements. Commissioner Henderson announced the Neighborhood Watch Program meeting. The meeting was adjourned at 9:27. These minutes are submitted by Commissioner Buds, 5:06. October 13, 2015. Meeting was called to order at 7 p.m. Greetings, Commissioner Henderson. Oh, they don't have it?
Yeah, I said you want to do it one at a time.
Well, I'm gonna read them both, then we can. Everybody has a copy now? Okay, greetings by Commissioner Henderson, roll call Commissioner Buds. All commissioners were present. A quorum was established. Announcement, Garage Edition, BCA 19074. No signed letters of support from neighbors received. Commissioner Henderson has not transmitted letters of support to the board. Commissioner Henderson stated that the case was continued to December 2nd, 2015. We had a public safety report by Lieutenant Mejia, presentations by Thornton Development. Commissioner Buds made a motion to support Thornton Development Phase 2 project. Motion seconded by Commissioner Lee. Motion passed 4-3. Commission voted to support the relief requested with a friendly amendment asking that there be no residential parking permit for the property. Development project at 411 New York Avenue. Mr. Dennis Lee and Ms. Brooks Rose presented. Commissioner Lewis made a motion to support Mayor Bowser's homeless pledge. Motion was seconded by Commissioner Buds. Motion passed 7-0. Proposed Pepco Exelon version. Mr. Mark Battle did a presentation. The zoning rewrite extended deadline. Commissioner Henderson made a motion to commission support the deadline for the zoning rewrite process. Motion was seconded, motion failed. Commissioner Buds made a motion that the minutes for the September 8th meeting be approved. Motion was seconded by Commissioner Shropshire. Commissioner Henderson refused the motion and attempted to move on to the treasury report. She then made a motion to pay the T-Mobile phone bill in the amount of $2,023. Motion was seconded by Commissioner Lewis. Discussion requested and heard. Motion failed 3-4. Commissioner Henderson, Lewis, and Blacknell tried to improperly adjourn the meeting. Announcements. Alicia Doherty, McDuffie's office gave a presentation on some announcements. Mr. Tommy Jones of the mayor's office gave some announcements. Meeting was adjourned at 9:15. These notes were submitted by Commissioner Buds, Secretary. Is there a motion on the floor to accept the minutes for September 8, 2015?
Can we ask questions about this?
Sure.
So where do you get your budget from?
So every year, each ANC has a quarterly allotment.
Mhm.
It comes from DC government.
Okay. And my second question is, so they bring zoning issues to the board? I mean, okay, so, what role do you play in that?
You either support it or we don't support it. Does that keep something from happening?
That's
No.
what I was about to, okay, that was gonna be my next question.
It
Okay.
could, if we're supposed to have great weight, you know,
Okay.
if we have enough neighbors complaining, most likely it would not be.
Okay.
But if the owner gives a better argument,
Okay. All right, that's all I have.
yes.
So when they deduct something from the allotment, is that considered punitive, or it's just, it was an unallowable expense, so?
Yes.
It's a disallowable expense. So, for instance, the dollar figures that were highlighted, that there's like $742 that was disallowed, that meant that it will be deducted from it was deducted from our next allotment.
So does that mean since you guys already paid for the plaques that you had to pay that amount and then you also didn't get that amount, so it's like they actually cost twice?
No.
No.
We weren't, so we're not supposed to have plaques.
Right.
That's not allowable expense for ANC.
Right.
They were purchased. So then our next allotment, right, because we already had the money in our budget,
Right,
so we spent the money.
you spent the money.
Right, but it was not allowable expense. So the next time they gave us money each quarter, they deducted that amount.
Right,
So let me explain.
okay,
So for the quarters that we actually got money for were for, they check and balance everything like 2 quarters after.
okay,
So the money that was spent for Q1 wouldn't be, checked and approved until maybe 2 quarters later.
right,
So we're not doubly paying for it. It's just that we weren't reimbursed for those. So the deduction occurred because that expense wasn't a disallowable expense. So it wasn't like I think you asked the question about, is it like double dipping?
Well,
Almost.
I mean, the question was more, if you guys hadn't, I mean, say these plaques never existed, would you then have, you know, like $1,400 more in the account?
700.
700.
Okay, so.
For just the amount that was disallowed. So it's not like we spent money and then we're also being deducted. It's
But the
that
checks
amount.
were written, right?
It was, whenever we submit the checks, it's like we're being reimbursed for
Okay.
it. So that wasn't permitted, so we lost the money. As an ANC, we lost the money,
Okay.
But only once.
but only once. Thank
See,
you.
because we don't have a budget, any expenditure has to be voted on. We don't have a budget. We don't have a budget for 2015, 2016. So we have to vote on every expenditure. And then also, so it wasn't voted on, and it also wasn't approved. We're not supposed to buy plaques. We're not supposed to use our money for plaques.
So who bought the plaques?
The previous ANC.
Oh,
It
okay.
was handed out in December 2014.
You mean like recognition plaques or like your?
I can explain to you.
Okay.
It was recognition plaques for 3 of the ANC commissioners
Mhm.
that were leaving. One was for the mayor, one was for the city council at large.
Mhm.
Okay, we have agency money. The agency money is supposed to be used like for printer paper, ink, and ink pens. And that's what the money is supposed to use for, not for the plaques.
Okay.
Well,
So can
it's
you
a-
fund projects and stuff, or I mean, cause it's, I mean, 50,000, that's, a decent amount. So, I mean, can you fund projects, or is it only for administrative type?
So it's for administrative, needs for the ANC, but there also is an option for each ANC to have a grant funding program. So the grant funding program, there are stipulations, like we can't pay for food, we can't pay for entertainment, we can't pay for a select group of things, but there are projects that we could pay for, like, I guess I'll give an example, like say somebody wanted to do like a, neighborhood improvement program, and they were actually doing planners around, an entryway or somewhere, that would be something that could be considered. But we would have to outline what those parameters would be for such grant program.
Also programming, so if you wanna do a class for students to learn Spanish, for example, you could do that for as well.
Any other questions? Again, is there a motion on the floor to approve the minutes?
I move to approve September 8th minutes.
Second.
The motion was seconded by Commissioner Roberts. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are there any noes? It passes 4-0.
Move to adopt the October 13th minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion was, moved that we approve the October minutes by Commissioner Roberts and seconded by Commissioner Blacknell. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes 4-0. Next on the agenda is approval of the Q4 ANC 5B financial report. I'm gonna ask the Commissioner Shropshire, since we have some questions like that, could you explain that first? So, then we'll see if there's any questions.
Just keep the two.
Keep it to- you want that? You bring it back.
So, this is Q4, which is, June, July, August. No, July, August, September. And this Q4 report is, we had a district allotment, well, our balance for it was $53,877.35. We had 2 district allotments which were mentioned in the previous minutes, which were the ones that were, one of the deductions were taken from, but that total amounted to $7,418.51. So our total funds that are available in our ANC is currently $61,295.86. There have been no expenses or disbursements, in this quarter, so that is where our balance stands, $61,295.86. Are there any questions about the quarterly reports?
This one.
Commissioner Roberts?
Is there, Commissioner Shropshire, so that we can share this with folks in the room, is there anything confidential on here that account numbers or anything? Are there any objections to sharing it with everybody?
I have not. Is that your question?
No, if you don't spend the money by a calendar year or whatever, does it go back or you keep the?
So the way that, ANC disbursements work is that it continues to accumulate.
Okay.
So it's not like a fiscal year dollar amount that you have to spend.
Sorry, we only have one copy of this, but.
That's fine, I'll pass it. Wasn't sure.
Any more questions,
Does
or you wanna
anyone
wait till you
want
see it?
I kinda want to see it.
So, go around quick.
Move to approve the treasurer's report.
I'm gonna wait, see if you have any questions. Wait, questions. Just pass it back. Any questions for those who?
I have a question, but not related to this report. Can we, once this is voted on, or as part of this, can we talk about the issue raised previously where someone tried to move all the money out of the bank account? Has that ever been resolved? Is there any information that can be shared?
So, we can answer whatever questions you might have. We're clear in our bank account, we are permitted to spend. There is no longer an issue with that. There have not been any other issues with individuals going to the bank. And we're okay with the auditor's office and we're okay with the bank.
And the Attorney General. Was it Attorney General? I was with the Attorney General.
It was the deputy mayor.
I called the Attorney General because
There were a
it was a false accusation.
Yeah.
It wasn't true
What wasn't true?
that we tried to steal money. Right? Exactly that.
Well, so are you asking me what was that about, or can we vote? We'll finish
Vote, yeah.
voting.
I think this is what she was referring to. And Kathy said there are falsified documents and everything.
So just to answer your question, at that time, we had challenges with signatures on the bank account. And as a result, I was informed that Commissioner Kathy Henderson had gone to the bank to try to, I don't know if she was trying to withdraw and put the money into another account. And so I was informed by the auditor's office. And so at that point, there was a letter sent out to us from the auditor's office,
It is right here.
which,
You can read it to them if you want to.
which read, we have been informed that, dear ANC 5D commissioners, we have been informed that a member of ANC 5D has visited different TD Bank branches around the city requesting a change in signers and to access the account, and that this is causing concerns among bank branch staff. As a preemptive measure to protect the assets of ANC 5D, I have requested that the Office of Finance and Treasury place a freeze on the account and that custody of ANC 5D's checkbook be maintained at the Office of the DC Auditor. Because this is an administrative issue within the ANC, I recommend that your ANC meet with Mr. Simon, Director of Advisory Neighborhood Commissions, to assist in resolving this matter. We will be in contact with Mr. Simon, and once the issues have been resolved, we can notify OFT to remove the freeze and return checkbook to the ANC. In the meantime, those authorized to issue checks on behalf of the ANC may do so at the Office of the District of Columbia Auditor's Office with adequate supporting documentation. Once the checkbook has been received in our office, the freeze can be removed from the account. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me, Lawrence Perry, Deputy District of Columbia Auditor. And so, after that was sent around, there was a period of time where there has been no activity in the account anyway. And so the auditor's office informed us that we were clear and we're okay.
So who signs your checks if one was written?
So currently there are 3 individuals who are signers on the account. That's myself as the treasurer, the Clarence Lee, the vice chair, and Yvonne Buggs, secretary.
So,
And we did, just to clear the air, we asked Commissioner Henderson to sign the signature card, and she refused because she didn't believe that we should all be signers on the account, that there should only be me and her.
which according to the ANC guidelines, a treasurer or the chairperson have to be on the account.
Right.
So once the treasurer was on the account in any of our offices, it's not a maximum. It's not only supposed to be 2 people. One of the reasons why they explain that, because if one commissioner does not want something done, even after we vote on it, we don't want to pay for it. So if it's only 2 commissioners, and that other commissioner, whether it's the treasurer or in this case, if it's the chairman only, they refuse to sign. Once we all 7 vote on something to pay it, it can't be paid. That was one of the reasons why one of the checks was refused, because they only had 1 signature on it. So the bank, we can write a check, but then it's gonna come out of our lot. So to avoid that, it needs to be more than 2 people on the sign. If one of them has to be the treasurer and one of them has to be the chairperson.
That makes sense.
Any other questions?
So just to reiterate, the option was given for 4 people to be signatories. And the result was that the treasurer, Commissioner Shropshire, the vice chair, Commissioner Lee, and the secretary of the bond funds are signatories on the account. Okay.
And you think about it simply, if she has to check to be signed, I can come by our house.
Right.
So it's stuff can go forward, because everything does have to be done at the meeting. Once we approve it, it has to be paid.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the reason why you have.
Signature has to be approved by a quorum.
Right.
So, nothing can be, I'm not writing checks, I don't, anything that is written has to be approved and by our commission with the quorum.
Right.
Yes.
Is there a procedure for removing a signatory?
Yes. Well, if once the election happens and you're not an officer,
No, I'm talking about in the interim. You had the election and you have officers. Okay? But in the example you cited, you may have an officer who's refusing the will of the majority. That could happen in March, April, May, June, or July. You don't vote again for officers until the following January.
well, that's why you have more than 2 officers on that
The
account.
process for removing a signature, to address your question,
Mhm.
is that you put a new signature card on record. That's what ended up happening with us. In order to update the signers on the account, the new signature, because previously, the signers on the account were old commissioners who were no longer officers.
And that requires action by the committee of the whole, is that correct?
Which we would have to do because we have to be security funded every year, right? And at that same time is when we submit all of that, right? I'm asking this.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Let me explain. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone.
No, you're not.
By experience, I'm an auditor. Okay, I was an bank auditor for 5 years. Okay, and I have an accounting degree. The question was an internal control question of how the procedure works, not pointing the finger at anybody in particular. The procedure should be the way Commissioner Shropshire explained it. And I just wanted to make sure that that is what it was, because I don't have the guidelines. Just like you have, even last year, you still needed 2 signatures on every check. No one person can write a check. That's dual control, that's a feature of internal control in any accounting system for checks and funds.
And that's why that $4 check was deducted.
Okay, you wanna repeat your motion? Mr. Morris?
Sure, I would move to adopt the Q4 ANC 5D financial report.
I second.
Okay, it was seconded by Commissioner Blacknell. All right, it was seconded by Commissioner Blacknell.
And Trump.
And Shropshire third, please.
For both of us, okay?
Okay.
But I understand why you did that.
Yes. All those in favor of approving the quarterly report, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record report the motion passed 4-0.